Imagine a tiny bottle, priced at just $2, sitting quietly in the natural health aisle of your grocery store. This is not a cosmetic that hides imperfections with foundation, nor a hydrating cream that temporarily plumps your skin. It does not merely slow aging with sunscreen. What it does is far more profound. It works at the cellular level to reverse the visible signs of aging. A single nightly application awakens damaged skin cells, accumulated over decades, and triggers them to repair faster than they deteriorate. This remarkable oil was documented thousands of years ago by Egyptian physicians in the Ebers Papyrus, 3,500 years ago. At the same time, generations of Mapuche women in Chile have relied on it to maintain skin that appears decades younger than their chronological age. Modern science has validated their ancient observations. The oil is rich in naturally occurring trans-retinoic acid, the highest concentration ever measured in any plant source on Earth. Trans-retinoic acid is identical to the compound that the global beauty industry synthesizes in laboratories to produce prescription retinol creams costing $200 per jar. $2 for a natural source of the same molecule versus hundreds for a synthetic version. The global anti-aging skincare sector generates over $60 billion annually, fueled by the demand for wrinkle reduction, dark spot correction, enhanced elasticity, and even skin tone. A humble $2 bottle contains the very compound these products attempt to replicate. Historically, the cosmetic industry ignored this natural alternative, not because it failed, but because it worked exceptionally well and cost so little. What you hold in your hands is the legacy of rose hip oil, a plant-based skin rejuvenation secret buried by a multi-billion-dollar industry. The story begins with Rosa canina, the common dog rose, which thrives across Europe, Western Asia, and North Africa. Its small red fruits, known as rose hips, yield seeds from which a potent oil has been extracted for millennia. The earliest references to rose hip preparations for skin appear in ancient Egyptian medical texts. Egyptian healers and cosmetic specialists, regarded among the most advanced in the ancient world, extensively used botanical oils derived from plants. The Ebers Papyrus describes these preparations for rejuvenating skin, healing wounds, and treating inflammatory conditions. Noblemen in ancient Egypt practiced elaborate skincare routines, recognizing through generations of observation that certain plant oils prevented skin damage, minimized scarring, and preserved suppleness in ways mineral-based formulations could not. Across the globe, independently, the Mapuche people of modern-day Chile and Argentina discovered the same benefits. The Rosa eglantariae, a South American rose species, produced rose hips rich in cold-pressed oil. Mapuche healers and women applied this oil to wounds, burns, scars, and aging skin, observing consistent results. Treated skin healed faster, scarred less, and aged more slowly than untreated skin. European explorers in the 16th and 17th centuries documented these practices. Spanish colonial physicians brought samples back to Europe. Yet, the European medical focus of the era centered on mineral compounds, mercury treatments, and Mediterranean botanical traditions, considered the South American seed oil a curiosity rather than a priority. For centuries, this knowledge remained dormant. A breakthrough came in 1983 when a research team at the University of Santiago in Chile conducted a rigorous analysis of cold-pressed rose hip seed oil. Their results were extraordinary. The oil contained measurable amounts of trans-retinoic acid, a natural form of vitamin A. This discovery coincided with a landmark year in dermatology. In the same year, dermatologist Albert Kligman at the University of Pennsylvania published research proving that topical retinoic acid reversed UV-induced skin damage and reduced wrinkle depth. His findings laid the foundation for the prescription retinol creams and retinoid treatments now generating billions in global revenue. The Chilean team had identified the same compound in a simple $2 seed oil. Although the discovery was published, the cosmetic industry opted to invest heavily in synthetic retinol formulations instead. Patents and proprietary delivery systems allowed synthetic retinol to be branded, marketed, and sold at steep prices, while cold-pressed wild rose oil could not be patented or commercialized in the same way. Now, consider why rose hip oil achieves what expensive retinol creams cannot. Skin aging occurs through three primary mechanisms. First, UV radiation damages DNA in skin cells, creating mutations that accelerate aging and produce dark spots. Second, repetitive breakdown and incomplete repair of collagen and elastin, the structural proteins maintaining firmness, lead to permanent wrinkles. Third, a slowing of cell turnover allows damaged surface cells to accumulate instead of being replaced by fresh, healthy cells. Trans-retinoic acid addresses all three pathways. It binds to specific nuclear receptors inside skin cells, known as retinoic acid receptors, triggering a cascade of genetic activity. This activation promotes collagen synthesis, accelerates epidermal cell turnover, and inhibits enzymes that degrade existing collagen fibers. Additionally, it reduces inflammatory signaling that contributes to cellular aging, effectively reversing damage rather than merely masking it. The result is a profound restoration of the skin's structure and appearance. With each nightly application, your skin engages in a cellular rejuvenation process honed by ancient knowledge and now validated by modern science. What was once a hidden botanical secret is now accessible in a small bottle that costs less than your morning coffee. The power to repair decades of skin damage lies in this simple, natural oil, bridging the wisdom of ancient civilizations with cutting-edge dermatology. Rose hip oil goes further than most treatments by encouraging the formation of new blood vessels within the dermis, boosting the delivery of nutrients directly to skin cells. The cascade of genetic activation it triggers produces visible results. Wrinkles diminish as newly synthesized collagen fills gaps beneath the surface. Dark spots lighten as the accelerated turnover of skin cells brings fresh, unpigmented cells to replace damaged ones. The texture of the skin smooths as old cells accumulate more slowly. Elasticity strengthens as fresh elastin fibers are created. This is not marketing hype. It is the mechanism documented and confirmed through decades of peer-reviewed dermatological studies. Here lies the key distinction deliberately obscured by the beauty industry. Commercial retinol creams do not contain trans-retinoic acid. Instead, they contain retinol, a precursor that must undergo a two-step enzymatic conversion in the skin to become trans-retinoic acid before binding to nuclear receptors and initiating the genetic effects described. Each conversion step diminishes the potency, introduces delay, and relies on the efficiency of the skin's own enzymes, which differ from person to person and decline with age. Rose hip oil bypasses this entirely. It provides trans-retinoic acid in its biologically active form, binding directly to retinoic acid receptors and activating genetic pathways immediately upon absorption. Beyond trans-retinoic acid, rose hip oil offers a comprehensive spectrum of bioactive compounds. Linoleic acid, an omega-6 fatty acid, makes up roughly 55% of the total fatty acids and serves as the primary structural component of the skin barrier. A deficiency in linoleic acid weakens this barrier, leading to rapid moisture loss and increased inflammation. Alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid at approximately 15 to 20%, helps reduce inflammation and supports anti-inflammatory compound production in the dermis. Vitamin C, present as ascorbic acid, acts as a powerful antioxidant, neutralizing free radicals generated by UV exposure before they can damage skin cell DNA. Beta-carotene, a vitamin A precursor, adds further retinoid activity, complementing the trans-retinoic acid content. Lycopene, another carotenoid antioxidant, contributes photoprotective properties. No synthetic anti-aging product within the $60 billion market contains this exact combination of compounds in their natural ratios. Laboratory replication of the biological complexity inherent in cold-pressed plant oils is impossible at any cost. This explains why rose hip oil rarely appears on dermatologists' recommendation lists. The anti-aging market generates over $60 billion each year, with the prescription and over-the-counter retinoid segment, trinoine creams, retinol serums, retinol palmitate creams, accounting for billions. The entire market operates on the belief that skin aging requires high-cost, technologically advanced interventions, not a simple $2 bottle of wild rose seed oil. The economics are simple. A 30-milliliter jar of prescription trinoine cream ranges from $80 to $200. By contrast, a 30-milliliter bottle of high-quality rose hip oil costs between $5 and $15. Both deliver retinoic acid to perform cellular work. The difference lies in ownership and formulation. Prescription trinoine delivers synthetic retinoic acid in a patented form controlled by a pharmaceutical company. Rose hip oil provides naturally occurring trans-retinoic acid in a seed oil that anyone can press and sell. Cold-pressed rose hip oil cannot be patented. No corporation can monopolize a revenue stream from a botanical whose active compounds were first identified in 1983 and whose intellectual property expired before filing. Faced with this reality, the industry chose to invest in synthetic retinoids. They financed clinical trials, establishing prescription retinoids as the standard treatment for photoaged skin. They constructed the educational framework, instructing physicians to prescribe trinoine instead of recommending rose hip oil. They devised marketing language, peptides, growth factors, bioretinol, and encapsulated retinol to make synthetic anti-aging products appear sophisticated and irreplaceable by something growing wild in a European hedgerow. The American Academy of Dermatology endorses retinoids as the gold standard for anti-aging care. This recommendation rests on clinical evidence produced through studies funded by companies that profit from retinoid sales. Meanwhile, peer-reviewed studies confirming rose hip oil's trans-retinoic acid content and dermatological activity exist, but were never funded at a scale sufficient to alter official clinical guidelines. No company would sponsor research proving that a $2 grocery store bottle works as effectively as a $200 prescription cream, because any competitor could then sell the same evidence-backed product. The knowledge survived nonetheless, preserved within the practices of naturopathic dermatologists, integrative medicine physicians, and communities of individuals who discovered it after years of expensive treatments that delivered modest results. In 1998, researchers at the University of Santiago, the same institution that first measured rose hip oil's trans-retinoic acid in 1983, tested cold-pressed rose hip oil against a placebo in patients with UV-damaged skin. After 4 months of daily use, the rose hip oil group exhibited statistically significant reductions in wrinkle depth, improved skin moisture retention, and diminished appearance of scars and hyperpigmentation. The control group showed no notable change. Later, in 2015, a study published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology examined the effects of rose hip powder supplementation on skin aging markers. After 8 weeks, participants experienced meaningful improvements in crow's feet wrinkle depth, skin hydration, and elasticity compared to placebo. Researchers highlighted that the combination of vitamin C, beta-carotene, fatty acids, and rose hip preparations produced synergistic anti-aging effects surpassing those achievable by any single synthetic compound alone. For decades, integrative dermatologists applying evidence-based natural medicine have meticulously tracked patient outcomes with rose hip oil protocols. Their clinical findings are remarkably consistent. Individuals who apply cold-pressed rose hip oil each night for 60 to 90 days report measurable improvements in skin texture, tone, and wrinkle depth, results comparable to those achieved with prescription retinoid treatments, yet without the irritation, peeling, and discomfort that often make prescription Trinoane difficult to use consistently. There's no photosensitivity forcing users to avoid sunlight, and no monthly expense of $200. The effectiveness remains unchanged simply because no cosmetic company financed the study confirming it. The process begins with selecting the correct product. Step 1. Acquire cold-pressed, unrefined rose hip seed oil. These two descriptors are essential. Heat during extraction destroys trans-retinoic acid and oxidizes the polyunsaturated fatty acids responsible for the oil's skin-active properties. Refined rose hip oil has lost much of its color, aroma, and active compounds through processing, rendering it therapeutically ineffective for anti-aging purposes. Cold-pressed, unrefined oil retains the full biological complexity necessary for efficacy. Its color should range from deep amber to red-orange. Pale yellow oil has been refined and offers no meaningful anti-aging benefits. A 30 milliliter bottle of cold-pressed, unrefined rose hip oil typically costs between $8 and $15 from health retailers or online sources. With a recommended 4 to 6 drops per application, one bottle lasts roughly 2 months, making the cost per treatment under $20. Step 2. Apply only at night. Trans-retinoic acid increases photosensitivity. The same reason prescription Trinoane is limited to evening use. Applying rose hip oil during daylight and exposing the skin to sunlight reduces its efficacy and may irritate sensitive skin. Include it as the final step in your nightly skincare routine, following cleansing and any water-based treatments. Step 3. Cleanse thoroughly before application. The trans-retinoic acid, fatty acids, and other bioactive compounds in rose hip oil must penetrate through the epidermis into the dermis to perform their cellular work. Residual makeup, sunscreen, or other daytime skincare products create barriers that reduce absorption, limiting effectiveness. Step 4. Dispense 4 to 6 drops onto your fingertips and gently press or pat the oil into the skin rather than rubbing it. Pressing allows the oil to penetrate deeply instead of remaining on the surface. Focus on areas of concern: forehead lines, crow's feet, nasolabial folds, regions of hyperpigmentation, the neck, and décolletage. Applying a thin, even layer across the entire face and neck proves more effective than concentrating a heavy layer in just a few spots. Step 5. Maintain consistency. The cellular mechanisms activated by rose hip oil, including collagen synthesis, accelerated cell turnover, and barrier repair, are cumulative. A single application yields no visible change. 30 consecutive nightly applications begin producing measurable improvements. 60 consecutive nights deliver significant, noticeable results for most skin types. 90 consecutive nights produce the full effect documented in clinical studies. Patience is essential. Results do not appear instantly, but the biology is actively working even if unseen. Within 4 weeks, most users observe smoother skin and a subtle reduction in dullness caused by accumulated dead cells. By 8 weeks, enhanced skin tone and early reductions in fine lines become apparent, including in photographs. At 12 weeks, clinical improvements, reduced wrinkle depth, improved elasticity, and faded hyperpigmentation are measurable according to the same standards used in dermatological research. The total investment for a 3-month course achieving clinically measurable anti-aging results is approximately $25 to $45 for 3 bottles of cold-pressed rose hip oil. Compare this to a 3-month supply of prescription Trinone at $200 per month, or a single session of fractional laser resurfacing at a medical spa costing $1,000 to $3,000 per treatment. The chemistry responsible for these results is identical. The cellular biology performing the work belongs to you. The price difference is simply the cost of a patent. Throughout history, every civilization that valued healthy skin independently discovered the same plant. Egyptian physicians pressing rose preparations in the Nile Delta recognized its effects. Mapuche healers pressing rose hip seeds in the Andes understood its benefits. Medieval European herbalists documenting Rosa canina for skincare observed the same results. All civilizations reached the same conclusion because the answer was inherent in the molecular biology of trans-retinoic acid and its interaction with retinoic acid receptors in human skin cells. This chemistry requires no brand name, no patent number, and no dermatologist's office visit. Skin aging has been reversible for 3,500 years using a substance that costs just $2 per bottle. What has changed is not the chemistry, it is the industry that built a $60 billion market by persuading consumers that effective anti-aging requires expensive interventions. Every prescription retinol cream, every peptide serum, every collagen booster, and every high-cost anti-aging treatment is structured to tap into your insurance or credit card. All of these products rely on a molecule that wild roses have produced naturally for millennia, long before humans even saw their reflections and wished for younger-looking skin. This is not conspiracy, it is simple arithmetic. If this information shifts the way you view the anti-aging aisle and the humble $2 bottle of cold-pressed oil sitting alongside it, take action. Share this knowledge. Every share weakens the walls built by billions spent concealing this information. Every subscription supports the uncovering of more hidden knowledge, thought permanently sealed. Skin aging has been a secret buried for 3,500 years. Next, discover what has been hidden about your sleep. We revealed how the pharmaceutical industry suppressed a $1 spice that promotes restorative sleep nightly, a remedy documented by ancient physicians and deliberately kept out of reach by the $80 billion sleep medication industry. Additional insights reveal how the pharmaceutical industry concealed a $2 oil capable of stimulating hair regrowth in 30 days, a discovery backed by 60 years of research that was systematically buried. Every week, new vaults of forgotten knowledge are being opened. Please leave your thoughts about this content in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.